Yeah, it is, and when I go into the
Everything's
one, I've
going
got
right?
extra, because I don't like
Everything's
it.
going right?
No, I don't. I've still got to have full cream milk, but well, it's got higher carb content, so it would have to have.
Radio's around the room. Phone on silent.
What was you on about?
No, he wants to get my
Thank you, everyone. We'll do the digital recording notice and acknowledgement at the start now, the annual meeting, and then we'll roll on to our normal meeting after the annual meeting. So I'll only be doing them on the one occasion, just for information. So declare the meeting open, the annual meeting open. Welcome those present and advise that the meeting will be digitally recorded in accordance with council policy, to record meetings to council to assist in the preparation of minutes and to allow live streaming of council meetings. A reminder to those in attendance to ensure their mobile phones are switched to silent throughout the meeting. The Circular Head Council acknowledges the North West Tasmanian Aboriginal people as the traditional custodians of the country on which we stand, meet and play. We recognise their continuing connection to the land, waters and community. We pay respects to elders, past, present and emerging. Attendance, we've got apologies from Councillor Poposky, a late apology. I'd ask you upstanding for prayers, please, and please stay standing at the end of prayers, please.
Let us take a moment to clear our minds and focus on achieving outcomes that serve the greater good of the whole community. May light illuminate all present and support everyone to bring their highest and best selves to the debate and the decisions made here tonight.
Thank you, councillors and others. I'd like to have a moment's silence for past councillor Ian Morris, who was a councillor elected initially in 1988 and then retired in March of 1991. So if we could just have a moment's silence, please. Thank you, councillors. Before we start the annual meeting too, it is also appropriate, I believe, that I acknowledge the contribution of Ian Snow-Nielsen to the community over many, many years. Ian, as most would be aware, was the celebration of his life was held yesterday, and the procession around the streets had enormous take-up of people standing to acknowledge his efforts. He was in St John's initially and then a major part in the volunteer ambulance and where it got to in our area down here now. He was very instrumental in the setting up of the SES in the local area, and the amount of stuff he done, wood cutting and that, for people that needed it, nobody would know. So the many, many hours of community that Ian, or Snow, as everyone knew him, put in needs to be acknowledged. So, thank you. Right, so we move on to 2.1, which is the minutes of the annual general meeting of the Circular Council held on Thursday, 14 December 2023, which have been circulated, would be confirmed as a true record. Have I a mover and a seconder? Thanks, Councillor Dabner. Seconder, Councillor Collins. No debate? Put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. 3.0. No, nothing. We've got 4.1. Annual report. So,
over to me, Mr Mayor.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll just run through the financials quickly. We had a budgeted loss last year of 1.1 million. We ended up with an actual loss of 680,000, so around $500,000 better off for the year. All ratios look good apart from the underlying surplus, which relates to the deficit. Council's cash flow is good, with reserves sitting at around 20 million. Council's total assets are valued at a written down value of 287 million, with 238 million of that, which are physical assets to maintain, such as our extensive road network. We also had another extensive audit by the Tas Audit Office this year. Just want to say a big thank you to all staff involved in the process. There's always a few sleepless nights in that, making sure we meet our deadlines, but this year's been exceptional. enabling the AGM to occur at this time of year. So thanks everyone for that.
I'll just take a few notes, and then if there's any questions, I think over the last financial year, our council here put a significant time and effort into the strategies, setting future direction, and aiming to secure a stronger, brighter future in Circular Head. We've seen the open space strategy be adopted, finalised, and framework for high quality play space in both Smithton, Marrow and Stanley has been identified, as well as other things through that. Highlights of last financial year improved the approval of new subdivisions designed to support population growth if we can get people coming through them. There was also the finalising of the scenic values planning overlay and the adoption of the Church Street Precinct Master Plan. Throughout 2023-24, we continue to advocate strongly for Circular Head. We have state election commitments for ambulance and paramedic coverage, as well as some monies for re-imaging the Central District area, funding for playground pump track, and all these have been allocated in the state budget, and the ones that we want first are coming through first, so that's good. The ongoing review of Tasmania's local government sector has been on hold, and we're awaiting any government response to that, and we'll see what comes back from that. So I'll also take the opportunity of thanking General Manager Vanessa and directors and all the staff for their continued efforts and work throughout that last year, and particularly note the efforts in the recent times, even though it's this financial year, through the recent weather conditions that we all put up and the efforts that went in to clean up around that. So, with that, has the councillors got any questions to Rachel or anyone in regards to the annual report? If not, could I have a mover and a seconder that be adopted? Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Seconded, Councillor Dabner. No debate? Put the motion. Those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. So I will now formally close the annual meeting. And, hang on, get another piece of paper up. And formally open the general meeting, ordinary meeting of the council. We've done, apologies again, will be Councillor Poposky. We've done the rest of the bits and pieces.
1.5.
Now, before we start, yes, thanks, Manager. 1.5, it is, we have been circulated a late agenda item for the closed session, which would be 20.4 in the closed session. We need to move a motion that be added to the agenda. Thanks, Councillor Pilgrim. Second, Councillor Hine, which is 20.4, disposal of property. No debate. Put that motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you, councillors. 2.1, minutes of the meeting held on Thursday, 19th of September, being noted as a true record. Mover and a seconder. Councillor Dabner, Deputy Mayor. No debate. Put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. 3.0. Any declarations of interest? Okay. 4.0. Mayor's communication. There's a list of bits and pieces there. Any questions in relation to those? Councillor Hine?
Any report what the Cradle Coast Authority represented meeting? That's just a general.
That was a board meeting.
Right.
This is the 10th of the 10th, I presume you're talking?
24th of
24th of the
24th of
9th. No, actually, that's my fault. Sorry, that's incorrect. Sorry, Matthew. I put my hand up. I wasn't at the representative meeting. That would have been the Deputy Mayor and the General Manager. So my apologies, Matt, you did send them out for me to check. Councillor Collins?
30th of the 9th, the Telstra mobile site launch event.
Yeah, Boat Harbour, there was a site, booster site at Boat Harbour, and then one, now get testing me, Port Ladder, Redcar, and one other in Circular Head. So it was really just a booster of the Telstra power, so they had a launch. So it was just thank you very much for doing this type of event. So, Councillor Pilkington?
Going back to the Cradle Coast Board meeting, was there any discussion about the Central Coast Councils having a separate
Yep.
group of councils, and what was the opinion on that, if there was?
Limited at this point. I'm sure that will come up in more detail as it goes forward. Given the fact that that's just an expression of interest to explore at this point in time. So yes, it was certainly mentioned, but will be explored out more once, I suppose, you knew what to manoeuvre around. So. Councillor Hine?
Getting back to 25th of the 9th, House of Representative Committee on Regional Development Infrastructure. What was that all about?
Because we put a representation in to that committee.
Inquiry into the sustainability of
Yep, inquiry into the sustainability of local government. I can't remember what we did, but we did. And, we got an invitation to talk to them. The General Manager and myself went to Launceston and went through our concerns. It was concerns, where was that, what we could see, and we'll wait and see what the outcomes of those are. The General Manager was in the same sitting with us, and their problems are very similar to our problems in all the stuff. I think it's fair to say. Councillor Flowers?
2nd of the 10th, a meeting with Selena Maguire. Is that to do with Shackle?
Yep. I've made a habit since it's been mayor of catching up with Selena. Yep. Was hoping that the new CEO, Peter Benson, new CEO, but he got busy. So, but I made a habit of catching up with Selena every 6 to 8 weeks. Yep. And I do the same with Sergeant Walters, and just have a chat to see if there's any information flow back and forth.
Yep. Thanks.
No further questions. Could I have a move and a second that they be noted, please? Thanks, Councillor Hine. Second to Councillor Collins. With that deletion, Matt, did you pick that up, please, Matt? Thank you. With the deletion of the representative meeting, which I didn't get to. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Some workshops there too. Councillors, I think we've been through those at the time, so if there's no questions, can I have a mover and a second that they be noted? Deputy Mayor, Councillor Dabner. No debate? Put the motion, those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Go through that. We've got public question time. We'll keep moving then.
5.2, remember.
He's not allowed to ask a question.
Yep. 5.2, sorry, I jumped there. My apologies, General Manager. We received a late written question, but the General Manager has been in touch with the person and will read the question now and the response.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The question is from Carlton Harris. If an adjoining landowner to a council-owned reserve road wants to acquire part of that reserve road, what is the process in order for this to occur? Do the other road users get consulted before the road reserve is transferred? So the response is there are 2 types of road reservation sale, one where the road title belongs to council and the other where the title belongs to the Crown. When the title belongs to council, we would follow the usual sale of council land properties procedure, which includes a notification being displayed on the land to enable interested parties to make representation. When the title belongs to the Crown, while council may maintain the road and related infrastructure such as drains, the land underneath still belongs to the Crown. A large portion of circular head road reserves fall into this category, particularly in the rural areas where the roads align with the original Crown subdivisions. When the Crown is the owner, the individual wishing to acquire a road reserve or part of it makes application directly to the Property Services Crown Land team in Parks and Wildlife Service. In assessing a request, the Crown Land team will consult council, but we understand that the Crown only consults adjoining landowners if they deem it applicable. Once consultation and investigation has been done, the block is usually joined to the applicant's title through a process where the Crown issues a new title to the applicant without going through a subdivision process. Thank you.
Thank you. No planning authority. 7 matters raised by Councillor 711. A question from Councillor Hine and the officer's response there. 7.1.2 question from Councillor Flowers, again with the response. Councillor Flowers.
So it's saying that state growth is not like this council then. This council seems to think the sea's going to rise, and state growth seems to think it's pretty happy with how it is. I can't see why we're wasting money on worrying about the sea rise when the state government's not going to worry about it.
It's fine. I suppose we're all entitled to our opinions in all those areas, so that's fine.
Can I just ask, when's the likelihood of a workshop? We're talking about having a workshop on that. Is there any forward plans?
Yes, I think we've scheduled it in for November.
Right, thank you.
7.2.1 works access question from Councillor Flowers with the response, or the 2 questions. Councillor Flowers.
When you start looking at what you say now, we'll take the tractor as an example. The depreciation on the tractor is $23,532 a year. Valued at $162,000, and if we'd sold it, we'd have that money in the bank, we'd be getting $8,000 a year interest. The insurance, I'm just estimating, is costing us $1,000. The rego, I'm estimating it's cost us $1,000. So it's costing us $33,532 a year to have it sitting in the depot, losing value. I can't see why we've kept this machine for 3 years we're only doing 255 hours a year, which is mere pittance. Well, when I was on council before, I went to a local government association thing in Hobart, and I went to they was having working groups there, and they informed us, unless the council machinery is doing 1,000 hours or more a year, you can't justify having them. Now, that's doing 255 hours a year. We can't justify having that. It's nowhere near 1,000, and it's costing us $33,000 a year, which is probably 15 people's rates out there paying for that, just so it sits in the depot as an ornament. And even the street sweeper, that's not doing enough hours either. It'd be interesting to find out exactly what it's costing us for the street sweeper. It's probably just as cheap or cheaper to get someone in from up the coast.
All your points are taken, but we've already arranged to do a complete financial review, and one of the points of that is a complete review of all assets, their worth and what we're getting out of them. So it is more, to my way of thinking, rather than go bang, 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 bang here and there, we do a holistic lot and make the decisions around the holistic, all the assets and what we need, what we don't, and taking into account
All the plant.
all the plant.
Yeah, no, I agree with you totally, but like what I'm saying, the $33,000 to have that sitting over there, well, I've been here 2 years and it's probably only done 10 hours in 2 years, well, it's cost us, what, $70,000?
Yep.
Which is ridiculous, really. Like, we're putting our rates up 6 and 8%, well, if you're a farmer, going up 20%, and we're keeping stuff like this, which is costing us an absolute fortune.
Once
for
again,
nothing.
that'll be picked up in the review that we've got scheduled to happen. And we can do it as a holistic thing rather than individual
It
bits.
just should be done sooner rather than later.
Well, there's a bit on that coming through in the agenda. So, good?
Just question whether we need to wait on a couple of
But,
bits of equipment like that when you know, there is
Hang on.
a definite...
through councillor Hine, if that sounds like a question without notice, then we'll come to that.
Righto, yep.
Right, so we've covered off
7.2.
7.2 with all the questions. Now, councillor Hine, 7.3, councillor without notice. Questions without notice.
My question is, why do we need to wait if we've got something like that
Right,
that's pretty...
answer, before we keep going, I just give to councillor Flowers,
Yes.
We're going to do it as a holistic
Yes.
thing rather than individual
Well,
little things.
what do we need to do to progress a couple of items like that so they're dealt with upfront?
Again, councillor Hine, we're going to do it holistically, the whole lot in one go, not individual little bits and pieces. That's the answer. You can keep asking the question, I'll keep giving you the answer. Councillor Flowers, did you have a question?
Yes. I'm back to my photos again too. At 882 Monchamana Road, we've got this lovely idea, we've got to spray the guts out of everything and kill all the grass because the grass roots are destroying the bitumen, which is false. So that's what we got. And you can see the water erosion there. That's what we get by spraying everything, we get erosion. Then we've got all this in this bloke's paddock. Now, he's not very happy with that. So I want to know what's council going to do about removing that gravel from his paddock. Like, we can't just keep on spraying the guts out of everything and letting everything wash in the property owners.
So your question is...
What are you going to do about that?
We've had to take it on notice and investigate it,
Yep.
Mr Mayor, and
So councillor Flowers, you can give James the address, etc. after the meeting?
Can do?
Yep, and then I'll investigate and come back from there.
No worries. That's the problem with spraying, but I cannot get it through to you.
That's a different debate, and the spraying one's coming up again, and where we're at with that in the agenda later on. Any further questions? Okay. Oh, councillor Flowers.
The welcome to country. I'm not happy with welcome to country. This is how I look at it. My ancestors are Tasmanian Aboriginal. Now, you do a welcome to country. As far as I know, you're not Aboriginal, so...
Be careful where you go with that.
Oh, no, I'm just saying.
You're doing an
So are you...
acknowledgement.
It's an
I'm
acknowledgement,
doing acknowledgement.
not a welcome.
Not a welcome. They're different.
A welcome to country can only be done by an Aboriginal person, acknowledgement by someone else.
Yeah, well, I still disagree with it. It should be done. If it's going to be done, it's got to be done by an Aboriginal person.
Well, I could probably prove that, but anyway, we won't go through that
Yeah.
debate. So you got a question, or
I'm just asking, why are we doing it?
because it's part of the protocol that we go through?
Well, there's a lot of other people in councils throughout Australia that are not doing it.
Not many.
There is though.
There's some, but not
Yeah.
many. Okay, any further questions? If not, we'll move on. No notice of motion. 9.1, finance report. Rachel.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. For you councillors, we've got the financial report for the period ending 30th of September 2024. Firstly, I just want to apologise for the format that they're in at the moment. We've gone back to our old format for this current month. We've had some retraining and things like that happening, so we actually just run out of time in the end. Sorry, they're in a different format, and the variances, explanations to explain them further are not there this month, so I apologise for that. In terms of we received no new applications for the first homeowners grant. The year-to-date profit and loss, it's sitting at $7.6 million surplus, because we're only obviously a quarter of the way through the year. We're sitting at 285 million in net assets. We've got debtors outstanding at 4.4 million, which is made up of the rates debtors at 3.871 million. We've actually got more uncollected this time than what we did the same time last year, so which means that people are a little bit slower paying than what they were in previous years. So we'll see in the next couple of months whether that changes or not, because we obviously have had different bills going to different land uses in terms of the revaluations and things like that occurred. So when you've got, especially when we had a swing to the primary production sector, we could have arrangements in place and things like that for some of the larger properties. So we'll see what happens with that that figure in the next couple of months. There's about a 5% difference there. Sundry debtors are much lower than they were same time last year. And I think we had that about $400,000 or $500,000 grant in there for most of the financial year last year from the state government, which has thrown it out a little bit. And then we've got current cash balance of a bit over 24 million. So I'll present that for Council's consideration, Mr Mayor.
Thanks, Rachel. Is there any questions? If not, we'll move in a second, please. Councillor Collins, second Councillor Dabner. No debate. I'll put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. 9.2, Rachel again, long-term financial plan.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. This one's been a while coming. Long-term financial plan. We've done a desktop review this time around to get it before council sooner rather than later. The plan's got a number of assumptions in it that have been workshopped with the management team and the councillors. The end result's summarised on page 6 of the plan, so there's a number of bullet points there. The main one is that most of our ratios meet the long-term targets apart from the underlying surplus ratio. As part of the plan, an improvement process and a number of tasks and reviews have been identified based upon earlier questions. Mr Mayor, the one in terms of a plant review, that was one of the ones that has been identified to rectify the underlying surplus issue that we've actually got. So other items include a useful life review of transport assets and specifically unsealed roads, a rating strategy, a hold on any new staff positions, and another one in terms of lobbying for the councillors to continue to lobby for an increase in the heavy vehicle motor tax. So as these projects we'll roll these out internally with the staff that we have at the moment in terms of rating strategy, a plant review and the useful life review. We'll bring them to you at a workshop to go through and then hopefully leading towards budget adoption time in June, we'll be able to re-adopt another plan with a more favourable outlook than at the moment. So the resolution was to adopt the plan, commit to action in the improvements made within and to updating the plan every 12 months. So I'll present that for Council's consideration, Mr Mayor.
Thanks, Rachel. Any questions? Not. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Thanks, Councillor Dabner. Seconder, Deputy Mayor. Wish to speak, Councillor Dabner?
Not particularly, Mr Mayor, other than just to acknowledge the work that's gone into this, particularly by Rachel and her staff and all the other hands that have played a little role. That's quite a hefty document for them to chew through, and they've done an amazing job with it. That's all.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
No, I reiterate Councillor Dabner's words. Thanks.
Any other speakers? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Budget Amendment 9.3, pipe and fill open drain Stanley. James.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This is a report, councillors, to formalise budget to fund the piping of a section of open drain in Stanley. This comes following workshop discussion about the project where council chose to fund up to $40,000 to pipe and fill a section of open drain, mainly due to risk associated with how close that drain was to residentially zoned property. We have another item in the 24-25 annual plan and budget, which is for the construction of the Montague Road footpath. So we've now gone to tender for those works, and there is anticipated to be the $40,000 saving in that project that we could use to fund the piping of the open drain in Stanley. So the recommendation, therefore, is to include a new item for Stanley open drain pipe and fill at $40,000, and then adjust the item for Montague Road new footpath from 192,384 to 152,384. So I'll present that report for your consideration.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor Hine?
Yeah, question. Has that pipe already been installed, or would it be?
It has
already been
It has,
installed?
yeah.
Right, next question is to do with that. Where does the stormwater on the Stanley Road go, particularly now in front of those new subdivisions that's gone there? And if anyone drives there at the moment, those 5 or 6 new entrances off the main road, I think we've erred really as far as in our planning and so on for that. There's no curbing or channeling. I know there's not either further on either, but where does the water go that actually falls on the road and in front of those blocks?
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor, the water for that whole Dovecot subdivision is captured and directed towards the north through the open drain and out onto the beach at the northern end of Godfrey's Beach.
I don't think you've answered my question. Supplementary question. On the actual side of the road, though, on those new subdivisions, does that finish up? Because there's no channel or drain there for it to go. Does it just sort of lay there, or?
There's a portion of land, I guess, that would fall overland flow towards the main road, Stanley, and towards Dovecot Road. But all the water that's captured within the subdivision would be directed.
Yes,
north to the
captured,
beach.
right,
Yep.
within the subdivision, but
Yep.
but not on the side. And is the cement that's protruded out to the road edge now going to stop any of that water that's sort of flowing naturally? And
I would have to take that on notice and
you.
investigate that actual issue.
it's a question that some people have asked me.
Yep.
Thank you.
No further questions? Can I have a move and a seconder for the report then? Councillor Collins, Councillor Pilkington. Wish to speak?
Yeah, the stormwater, I'm not entirely sure. I know that there is curb and channeling through the rest of the subdivision, which will pick up most of that water, I'm sure, and that'll just be the general runoff towards either side of the road that's where there's no curb and channeling. There's none on the other side of the road for most of that area. So as far as I can see, most of it probably will be picked up throughout the roads that are on the subdivision.
Councillor Pilkington, do you wish to speak? No. Any other speakers for or against? Councillor Flowers?
Yeah, no, I'm all for it, but I'd like to see some of our local contractors have the opportunity to, or council give them a helping hand to get into some of this sort of work, because it was all done in-house years ago. It was all done by local contractors. Just, we haven't got no one to lead them at the moment. It'd be nice to see council trying to get them a tender for these types of jobs, just to keep the money locally.
Yep.
Thank you.
No other speakers? Put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. 9.4, shoulder maintenance, no spray trials. James again.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This is a report to consider the carrying out of a trial program. We're calling it a no spray trial, where in response to councillor question, we're proposing to trial the maintenance of road shoulders on select sections of road without the use of glyphosate spray. Essentially, what that means is the shoulders will be maintained mechanically instead of through using spray, to remove build-up of vegetation. So there's pros and cons, I think, to both ways of treating your shoulders. As we heard earlier tonight, shoulder scouring is a key issue. It needs to be managed, and we think that there's merit in carrying out trials to determine the success of no spray methodologies. Now, we're proposing that 3 sections of road are trialled over a period of 5 years. So those sections of road are Roger River Road, change 4 to 6.08, Crolls Road for the entire sealed length, which is around 1 kilometre, and then Crolls Road's unsealed length, which is 4 kilometres long, approximately. The second part of this report deals with the sealing of gravel shoulders. So there is a lot of merit. It's an industry recognised standard, I guess, to seal shoulders on higher traffic roads results in a lowering of maintenance, increases road safety. So on that basis, we're recommending that Council consider through the 25-26 financial year budget deliberations, including 2 items in the annual plan for next year. That would be to upgrade a section of Montague Road from Miller Road to the Smithton Airport to a sealed shoulder standard. That would match the adjacent sections of road and would be an applicable standard for the traffic on that road. And then also to consider sealing shoulders on a section of Upper Scotchtown Road from Scotchtown Road Junction heading up the hill for around 800 metres. That's a section of road which we see issues with shoulder scouring and believe there will be benefits in sealing those shoulders. I think that's the basis of the report, so I'll present it for consideration.
Thanks, James. Questions? Councillor Hines?
Yes. Is the backline road, the shoulder sealed on that already?
Yes.
It is, right. Thank you. What about Ford's Road?
Just,
The shoulder's not sealed on Backline Road. From Forest to Wilshire, they're sealed, not from Forest to Smithton. The majority of Backline Road is still unsealed.
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor, that's actually correct. Sorry, I apologise. It is sealed from Wiltshire Junction to Forest and unsealed shoulders from at the Smithton end.
so Councillor Hines, you want to continue with your question?
Thanks for clarifying that, but I would like to move an amendment that we look at alternative roads that are probably more in line with where the majorities can visit and could just drive through forest and as we're going up the coast or somewhere like that and where there's roads that we can...
So let's have your amendment then. Even though we've workshopped this.
Yes, I know, and I did voice that, so this is my
Let's have your amendment then.
But that we consider from Forest through to Wilshire as one section. The second section where we've got Crolls Road sealed, the first part of Ford's Road I think is sealed, and Ferny Creek Road as the gravel section, all in the one area, and where most of us, if we're travelling through anywhere, we can just divert through.
So this is an addition to these?
No, that's in place of those.
Right, have you got that written down to give to Matthew?
No, but I can soon write it down.
Matthew, have you got that, please?
It's just changing the three roads to a different area.
Right, so have you got it, Matthew, or do you want it from Tony again?
I need to run through it again.
Yep,
So
I can soon provide it.
No, we need it now.
Oh, righto. So if I'm correct, from the Forest shop through to the Wilshire Bass Highway Junction.
Tony, can we have from Wide Hills to Forest? Because it's already sealed on the other end.
Sorry?
Can we have from Wide Hills intersection to Forest?
Righto.
From Forest to Wilshire, because Forest to Wilshire is already sealed.
It's through you. The only reason I'm saying that, this is going to delay the start of that project to get those sealed first, and where we've got somewhere that's already sealed. All right?
One of these is a
Through
sealed
you, Mr
link.
Mayor, are we talking about sealing gravel shoulders, not the no spray?
No,
shoulders?
you're talking about in the Roger River section, 2 kilometres roughly. There's already, you want to seal that before you start the,
No.
No. Through you, yeah. So which
seal the shoulders?
No.
No, righto.
No.
the Crolls Road, so Roger River Road, Crolls Road, and the unsealed length of Crolls Road, that's a no spray trial. So, but we're proposing to consider through next year's budget deliberations, seal Montague Road from Mellor Road to the airport, and Upper Scotchtown Road from the Scotchtown Road junction up the hill for 800 metres.
Are we talking about the spray trial or?
No, both.
There's two parts to it. One's the trials,
Yes.
and the other one's sealing Montague and
Well,
Scotchtown.
the spray, the no spray type section, you've got road segment, Roger River Road, sealed. You want to.
No, that's
No.
no spray.
No, it's
no.
a sealed
no
road.
spray.
It only means it's a
What is
sealed
it?
road and not the spray.
This is it here.
Let's see, look in that section there.
That's not what this is.
Right. The basis
Right at
of
the
the,
start of the no spray trials. 9.4. Recommendation.
of it.
I know what you're talking about, but that's the section of the road that they're actually going to do those trials.
Basis is, councillor Hine, the 1A, B and C are where the trials are going to be held. Some is sealed, some is unsealed.
It's not looking at.
For non-spraying.
For non-spraying.
Yep.
And then point 2 is the 2 areas that to consider for sealing in next year's budget. Have we got an amendment now, or are we moving on?
So the trials are going, for the spraying are going to be done in the Roger River, Crowles Road and two lots of Crowles Road,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So I'm suggesting that those roads be replaced and do all different roads that I'm just suggesting.
Right.
Now, if someone's
Matthew,
got a better alternative.
No, look, give Matthew your amendment. You've got the right to move an amendment. Give Matthew the road you're proposing.
No spray.
Can I go through the chair, because obviously Rodney's got a better suggestion, I think.
Question, councillor Pilgrim?
Question, Mr Mayor, do we have to be so specific on where the trials are held at this stage, or
Yes.
just...
Yeah,
say
we need it just so we can go and say we're going to do that for 5 years, you see. It's a decision just to go and do it.
Well, I'm not against the decision to do it, it's just where that's done, that's all. And I just think that probably
So, councillor Flowers, you've got an idea of what roads he's talking about?
I know what he's on about. I know exactly what he's on about. All he was wanting, instead of having it right at the back of the municipality, bring it down closer so we can all see, they'd have to go for a Sunday drive out to Crowles Road, and Crowles Road hasn't got much traffic on it. And Roger River Road is mainly heavy traffic, like trucks. Yeah, he just wants to bring them in closer to town.
Right,
Would I be right in saying that?
well, we need road names. If you're going to move an amendment, we need some road names.
Now, if someone...
Give them to Matthew so he can put them up on the board so we all know them.
So we'll go from the Bass Highway at there at where it commences at near the tip through the forest.
On Backline Road.
On Backline Road. And then Ford's Road.
Hang on. So Backline, that's from the White Hills turn-off.
Yes.
The Bass Highway to...
Forest. However length you want to go to.
Forest, 5K.
Yep, righto, Forest.
So to the Forest Township.
Yes, the Forest Town boundary.
Yep.
Then Ford Road, which comes off that road.
Yeah, both on that, just gravelled and
The whole length of Ford's Road.
No, just, it's kilometres, it's got kilometres there of what's to be done. It's just replacing what's identified for Crowell's Road.
Sealed or unsealed length?
both.
No, it says sealed length,
I'll give you a chance.
And unsealed.
And unsealed length.
and then Crowell's Road, the third one, would be Ferny Creek Road, which is
Ferny
unsealed.
Bridge.
Ferny Bridge Road.
Stony Bridge, is it?
Ferny Bridge.
Ferny Bridge. What to say, Stony something?
No, Ferny
You
Creek.
said Ferny Creek.
What's the difference?
Fair bit. Creek goes under, the bridge goes over.
I just read the sign as I was coming through, that's all.
Right, so we've got the Matthew.
Yep, and I'll transport them across so that they can see.
Thank you, so we can see them, please. Thank you.
So you're wanting the lengths of the,
Just the same length that's there identified for those, that obviously must have done some homework or something, calculations to do it, and so equivalent of calculations of what's in there in those sections of road. Although the forest one is probably a little bit longer than what's here, the first one.
Double.
we have a seconder for this amendment.
I'll second it just because I've got a question of James.
Yeah, well then I'm going to go to
Sec-
James. Before we debate
Councillor.
it, I'm going to go to James anyway.
Was that Councillor Flowers' amendment or
Councillor Hines.
It's Councillor Hines.
Councillor Hines' amendment?
Councillor Hines.
With some help.
Councillor Flowers was clearing up some things.
Yep, just
Well, I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
the
that's right.
section is sealed, that's where you want to do it off the side of that rather than,
Just
That's how I interpret
wait till Matthew gets us up, then I'm going to go to James
So
to
the
make a comment.
questioning stays the same, it's just the roads. that-
Just the roads,
Yes.
James.
The roads are
Yep.
changing.
Thank you. Right, so we got them there, Tim? James, do you want to make a comment on those, please?
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor. I suppose one key thing to note is that by carrying out the no spray trials, there may be some additional risk to the road user. If we get to a situation where grass growth or vegetation growth compromises the integrity of the road shoulder, it's less easy for a car to regain control. So putting the trial on a higher traffic road may result in a higher risk than doing it on a low traffic road such as Roger River Road or Rolls Road.
So now, Councillor Lyon, you wish to speak to your amendment?
I certainly do, and because I think it's just a common sense way of where we can have a look at it. But the question is, have you done road counts on any of those roads? So you've got data that can back up what you've just said as far as traffic. So do we want to do a trial on a road where there's not so much traffic, or do we do it where there is traffic and where it's used to a greater degree?
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor, we do have traffic counts for both of those roads. The roads in Trewater that were mentioned are a lot significantly lower traffic, and therefore the risk would be lower.
Councillor Dabney, you wish to speak? No. Any other speakers for and against? Councillor Pilkington?
Well, can I make a question?
Not
James?
really, but yeah, right, go do it.
Surely, James, part of the trial is if we have to patch up areas in the trial area, that cost is recorded and compared to the spray. So any danger, I would think we should cover, but keep a record of how much it cost and compare it. So I think that would cover.
Right, any other speakers for or against? Councillor Collins?
I just think what James has done is a well thought out study, and he's actually trying to keep the public at less risk by keeping it in areas where there's less traffic, so there's not as much chance for an accident. and it's just as easy to monitor where it is being subject to in the first place. So,
Thanks, Councillor Collins. Any other speakers? Or get Councillor Holdacre, then Councillor Flowers.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Last week, we all sat here, with the exception of Councillor Flowers, and I did tell him what we talked about. Councillor Hine, you had the opportunity to raise those matters last week when we was here. Now, whether you don't like that trial out there, they've done it for a safety reason, and therefore I will not support the amendment, simply because we're trying to keep things safe. We're trying to make sure that we get the right outcomes. Now, I know Councillor Flowers will want to take to me and think I'm some different person, and he'll probably ring up tonight and tell me I'm such and such. I've had it said to me plenty of times before. It doesn't worry me. But in reality, we had the opportunity last week, all these questions about these things, to fix it then, and we need to go with the staff on this occasion to do what they've suggested.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Flowers, your turn. Yeah, I won't
upset him.
I won't be supporting the amendment simply because the work has gone into doing it, and we had.
Can I just correct something? Because I did discuss that and put that suggestion forward at the workshop.
Obviously, it wasn't taken up by the rest of it. I won't be voting for the amendment either because the work's been put into Ware. The safety reason is very valid, and we can get this thing done properly. So, Councillor Hine, there is a dissenting voices, so you have the opportunity to sum up if you wish.
No, look, we had a good discussion on it. I've got my views, and I think it'd be a better option out there, but that's the majority of the others. So let's get on with it.
Right, so I'll put the amendment. Those in favour?
Aye.
Those against?
Aye.
So the amendment's lost. Now, can I go back then if we have a mover and a seconder for the original recommendation?
I'd like to move an amendment to the original recommendation.
You can do that, Councillor Flowers.
You've got A and B for the sections that you want to, like Montague Road and up Scotstown Road, Seals Shoulders. Can we also add Backline Road corners, the inside of the corners? Like it's a danger, like you're talking safety. There's been quite a few accidents on Backline Road and they all revolve around the corners. They get rutted out real bad, real quick, gravel all over the roads. If we can seal on the inside the corners.
Now, we'll get a chance to talk. We need a second before we can get Councillor Dadman a second to this one as well. Now go.
Yeah, if we can do that, if we just do the inside the corners and preferably a white line. Because magic white line, they don't like going over it. Yeah, but if you just seal it, they just keep on going in and in and in.
Yep. Thanks, Councillor Flowers. Councillor Dabney, you wish to speak?
I'm in total agreement with Councillor Flowers.
Thank you.
Nothing to add.
James, you got any comment on that suggestion? Or?
Well, through you, Mr Mayor, we can present that for with estimates to discuss through the 25-26 budget deliberations. Yeah.
Yep. So we've now got a C. Did you get that, Matthew?
This is for point 2.
Point 2. We're adding a C. And that was Councillor Flowers will explain to you exactly what he wants.
When you're ready.
Seal the inside of the corners on Backline Road between White Hills intersection and Forest. And add a white line as well.
Set on.
Yeah, no, on the inside edge.
Okay, so the amendment is that adding a C, which is determined to consider in our next budgeting process A and B, and now C as well. So it's from there. So any other speakers for or against? All right, if not, I'll put the amendment. Those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? So the amendment now becomes the motion. Same move and second as I presume. I think we've debated around unless anyone else has got anything to say. I'll put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Gifts and benefits guidelines, foot 9.5, General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. We have workshopped this one. The gifts and benefits policy has been minor updates. You asked in the workshop that the value of gifts were limited to $20 per quarter. That's been added in. And with that, I present the report for consideration.
Thanks, General Manager. Is there any questions on that? We did give this a fair go the other week. Yes, Councillor Flowers, you weren't here, so that's fair.
$20 is not much, it's not even a carton of beer.
That's correct.
Not even half a carton of beer, Councillor Flowers.
You can get a no alcohol drink.
Well, that beer.
If there's no further or sensible questions, can I have a mover for the report? Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Seconded, Councillor Hine. No debate? I put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried.
I didn't buy a carton of pear cider either.
9.6, Federal Election Priorities. General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Again, we've workshopped this. The federal election is scheduled for 2025. Whether it's called early or not is open to debate. We have already been started to be asked by the main parties for our priorities, so I'll present these two for your consideration.
Questions? Yes?
Can I move that lay on the table for till the next meeting? You're aware that we've got the one of the candidates coming to a meeting on Monday, and as yet the Labor Party haven't endorsed their candidate. I am concerned.
All right, well, you can't talk. You can't talk to a.
Move that we lay it on the table for another workshop.
You can't. Yeah, the procedural motion is to lay it on the table for another workshop. We got a seconder?
Yep.
That will miss the Liberal Party deadline.
It will miss the Liberal Party deadline. So we cannot debate it. I'll put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
Motion's failed. Can we have any further questions? Councillor Flowers?
With the photo they got there for the main street, is that a single lane or is it going to be a dual lane?
Sure.
Dual lane.
Still dual lane, yeah.
Dual lane. Just looks pretty narrow for it.
It's a pretty fat street.
It's a fat street and that's a fat path, but it's still definitely dual lane.
Yep. And also, soon they're wanting, playground equipment standing. Is there any chance of slapping a little bit more on that for playground equipment as well? While we go?
Well, not to add playground equipment in is not something that's been costed into the main stages of the project. So at this stage, no, but that's certainly a consideration in the open space strategy, that Tatlows Beach and then Godfrey's Beach will come up for planning and development.
Just so the question was asked from Stanley
Sure.
yesterday about their plans that they've already got.
We're well aware of those, thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone don't have to nod.
Councillor
We've all heard it.
Councillor Pilkington?
Could I move an amendment that we add an amount for a development officer to our election wishes? I think it's sorely needed. It's a request. If we don't get it, we don't get it. But I think we need it, and it would be easy to work out and an obvious need. So,
We have a seconder for that?
What was it again?
a development officer.
Economic development officer.
Highly unlikely to fund stuff.
Seconded by Councillor Dabner. Do you want to make comments and then we'll do
Just
a debate?
very briefly, I've never experienced election commitments for staff, so I doubt that would be successful.
It's usually infrastructure, isn't it? But, you know, you wish to speak to it. Anyway, we've got an amendment.
Whether we get it or not, I think we should ask for it. I think it's essential for the future of our council to have someone that can promote us. We all say the council's too busy to do things, and they are, but we need this, and I think it's worth asking for. Whoever goes into government wants to build the economy, and this does build the economy, so I think it's worth asking for.
Okay.
If I may, Mr Mayor, they won't fund an ongoing role, so it would have to be for 3 years or something, funding for 3 years or something.
Councillor Devner, you wish to speak?
Yeah, I'd just to echo the words of Councillor Pilkington, and look, I think it's something we do need here. My mother always told me, if you don't ask, you don't get, and if nothing else, that highlights that it is something that is important to this council to actually create that position and fill it. I appreciate we may not get it, but at least we've asked.
Now the speakers for or against. Councillor Hine. Sorry.
Yeah,
yes,
you're right. Yeah, well, I fully support that. And if you look back to the priorities, 2019 of the Tarkine Progress Group, and if you go through their current list that we read out here just recently, and we circulated that, that's one of the key points that they have been promoting for quite some time. And so I think this is a step in the right direction.
Councillor Flowers.
Yeah, I support it as well, but on the condition that it's only for 3 years, and not after 3 years this council's going to pay for it.
Yep. It's right. Any other speakers? Councillor Collins.
Sounds like a great idea, but shouldn't we have the development ready to go before we actually employ someone to do it, to promote us? We need to have these things ongoing rather than just promoting something that's not there yet. So I think it'd be something for the future maybe, but not quite now.
Any other speakers? No, I won't be supporting because I think we should be looking. I agree we want one. I agree we need one, but I think where there's other funding areas we should be chasing probably to try and get that. And a 3-year chop off is also a concern with that sort of stuff as well, because you get one and then you haven't got the funding for it, and what do you do? So I do believe we need to be exploring that, but I'm not sure if this is the right medium.
Can I ask a question?
No, you've done. No.
A question?
No. Opportunity has been there. Any other speakers? Now, the mover of the motion was Councillor Pilkington. You get the opportunity because they're the dissenting voice to close, yes?
I disagree with Sal's summation that we're not ready for it. If we need someone to promote, there's ample opportunities in this council in this municipality for development of businesses, and we need someone to promote what they are and how they get done. And if we sit back and wait for things to happen, they're not going to happen. So I think regardless of whether we get the money or not, we should be promoting what we have and looking to develop our municipality in the many ways that the advantages we have should be spread far and wide, and we should have someone here encouraging that to happen.
Thanks, Councillor Pilkington. Right, I'll put the amendment, sorry. Those in favour of the amendment?
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4. Those against?
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4. The amendment's lost. We'll go to the... so now we go back to the original motion. Is there a move and a seconder for the original report?
Can I ask a question now then, through that back to the General Manager?
You may.
Just, you indicated that the timeline for funding to the Liberal Party is closed or closing very quickly.
We were asked to provide our priorities, and I can't give you the exact date right now, but it was before the next council meeting. They wanted to have our priorities in.
Haven't you already done that back in 2023 as far as the proposed funding for the Church Street?
No.
That's my understanding. It's been something there in the pipeline for that period of time.
No.
Thank you.
Right, we're moving a seconder for the report as it sits. Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Seconder, Councillor Collins. Wish to speak?
No, I just think the work's already been done. It's been presented. We've workshopped it, and we need to just make these priorities our priority. And if we don't do it now, we're going to miss out. So if we start mucking around, changing things, and then go back to the discussion on it, we're going to run out of time to be able to put a submission in. So
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Collins.
I reiterate what Deputy Mayor Dawes says. I actually think that we've workshopped this to some great length, and we've made decisions on it in these workshops, and then we're disputing it in the meetings, which is just to me, it just seems to be taking up extra time that we don't really need to be doing, as far as we've come up with all of our answers before we've in the workshops. We need to stick with what we've actually workshopped.
Any other speakers? Councillor Flowers.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. A workshop is to discuss things and learn about things. The meeting is to make up your decision. You don't make the decision at the workshop, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, this statement's been made before by other councillors sitting around this table as well. We are not to make a decision at the workshop, we are to make a decision at the table.
Correct.
At the general meeting.
But I would reiterate that positions are taken at the workshop for the staff to go away and do the work. That's not making the final decision, but the decisions by the whole group are made through, the positions are taken by the group through them workshops.
Yes, I don't disagree with that, but it's good to have discussion at the meeting. We just don't come here and rubber stamp everything because we've already talked about it. Like, if we've got someone sitting here behind us, they don't know what's going on. And when there's discussion around the table, like we've just had, it's good. We're not here to just rubber stamp. I just find that, well, appalling, really. That's shocking. Where to do a job?
No one's debating that, Councillor Flowers. No one's arguing with you.
no one.
Well,
So,
yes,
are you discussing the motion or just having an argument?
no, I'm just laying down the facts that we're here to discuss around this
Right,
table.
well,
We don't make the decision at the workshop.
Discuss the motion then.
Well, yeah.
So you got nothing on the motion?
No, pretty good, thanks.
Right, no further speakers. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Aye. Against?
Yes.
So there was Councillor Hine against. Motion's carried. The 9.7 Development Assessment Panel.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So we have the opportunity to put in a response to the consultation on the draft Development Assessment Panel Bill. And at the workshop you gave me some pointers as to your concerns, and I believe I've captured them accurately and turned them into the attached draft response. So I present the report for your consideration and any amendments that I have overlooked.
Cool. Questions to the General Manager? If not, can I have a mover and a second? Is it?
So moved.
Thanks, Councillor Oldacre. Second, Councillor Dabner. No debate? Put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Senior Management Report.
Thank you,
9.8.
Mr Mayor. As usual, the community team have been out and about doing lots of good things in the community. Seniors Week, the 2610 programme goes from strength to strength, including a Learn for Life literacy action. Charts, as you know, has wrapped up, and again, I will highlight the community team did a fantastic job along with our volunteers on that. And the youth teams and 7up are active and getting involved in planning for Christmas parade and Christmas carols. So I present the report for your consideration.
Thank you. Any questions? If not, can I have a move and a second that the report be noted, please? Thanks, Councillor Flowers. Second, Councillor Collins. Put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Minutes 9.9.1. Minutes of other bodies. There's Circular Head Wellbeing Collective. Comments or questions? And there's also Chettick. I think it was Chettick, wasn't it? Yeah. Chettick, there also comments or questions? If not, could I have a move and a second that they be noted, please? Thanks, Councillor Dabner. Second, Deputy Mayor. Put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. So I now need a move and a second.
Sorry, you've got 9.9.2, just to note.
Where did he escape?
Received correspondence.
Sorry, 9.9.2. My apologies, councillors. Received public correspondence there. Just to note the letter there from the Tasmanian Veterans Association. If I could have a move and a second that they be noted. Thanks, Councillor Dabner. Seconded, Councillor Collins. Put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Now need a mover and seconder the matters proposed for consideration in a closed meeting. If I could have a mover and a seconder, please, for the list.
So moved.
Thanks, Councillor Eilager. Seconded, Councillor Dabner. Put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. And I'll now need a motion to close the public
So
meeting.
moved.
Thanks, Councillor Eilager. Seconded, Deputy Mayor. Put the motion. Those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you, councillors.